Hey, what's up, everybody? Pat here, gratefully recovering alcoholic and addict, just like every day. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe, leave the video a like, drop me a comment, and by all means share with anybody you think might get something out of it. On that, how we doing, everybody, today? Wednesday, yeah. Sorry, busy. This has been a busy day. It's funny. I've sensed lately that I've got to start stepping out of my comfort zone, and I know sooner I get this intuition, then I see the subtle changes. Today was one of those days where I had a dentist appointment for implants, and my final Sublocade injection from my doctor's office. They required a urine test. I was actually thrilled to give a urine, knowing full well I'd pass and be clean. I've got my class tonight, and then I knew work was going to be a little tricky today, but I had an emergency water leak came in. I went and took care of that. My buddy Doug called and had a bunch of ideas for the new project we're getting ready to start, and so I did a whole bunch of office work. Ended up buying a Jeep Grand Cherokee that we're going to use just to hold parking spots. And so basically, I bought it on the company dime, his company dime, not my company dime. And I got a nice little lifted Jeep Grand Cherokee with big tires and a 9,000-pound winch in the front of it, and I'm gonna have a fun little winter toy. Little bonuses for doing work, but I see the progression how it's gonna running his office for him is paving the way for me to run my office better and to learn the insides, the inside track to running mortgages and commercial insurance. And it's beautiful that he's been feeding it to me step by step, getting ready for me to enter the next phase, which for me is going to be owning property. And the next project we do, I'm going to be a 50% owner on, because I've actually saved the down payment. That will be a flip I can turn around and then start either owning rental properties or sober houses, depending on how it works out. But either way, it's shocking the progression that I've made in this comeback run. And again, it's because I haven't put the cart before the horse. I've taken it one step at a time. I've done, just put my recovery first, and just showing up, practicing these principles in all of my affairs, just being the best version of me, and it's working incredibly well. That kind of segues into the video. Sorry, we're getting a call. It throws me off when the calls come in. We'll get it back to them. The reading today is titled Onward and Upward. I almost had a little bit of a pause in this particular reading, because it's about holding steady and it's almost saying that life seems like it's gonna, to expect life to be bad. And here's the thing, guys, life can be tough. And I'm going to do the reading because a lot of us coming into early recovery have a lot of wreckage in our way, and it can seem very overwhelming, and things can seem like we'll never get to the end, so why bother trying? And we'll talk more about this afterwards, but like this class I'm taking tonight is the final piece of a puzzle that I've been trying to put together for 30 years. I've reached the deadline. Like, we can get there, and we fast track it when we do it in God, we do it in faith, and we do it as our best selves. We seek what we find, guys. Look for opportunities. Look to embrace recovery. I understand we deal with hard things, but if you actually compare your life in addiction, if your life was anything like mine, I don't understand how we could not be filled with gratitude every day. And that's the position I come from. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying fake it, but just have the strength to look at your life and realize what has to go and what needs to be what it needs to be replaced with. If you're sticking around a situation that isn't for your highest good, you're never going to find joy in that, and you got to have the courage to step away from it. But anyway, we'll do the reading and we'll talk more about it, guys. Onward and upward. The progression of recovery is a continuous uphill journey. The longer we stay clean, the steeper and narrower our path seems to become. But God does not give us more than we can handle. No matter how difficult the road becomes, no matter how narrow or how windy the curves, there is hope. That hope lies in our spiritual progression. If we keep showing up at meetings and staying clean, life gets, different. The continual search for answers to life's up and downs can lead us to question all aspects of our lives, and we absolutely should. Life isn't always pleasant. This is when we must turn to our higher power with even more faith. Sometimes all we can do is hold tight, believing things will get better. In time, our faith will produce understanding. We will begin to see the bigger picture of our lives. As our relationship with our higher power unfolds and deepens, acceptance becomes almost second nature. No matter what happens as we walk to recovery, we can rely on our faith in a loving higher power and continue onward. Just for today, I accept that I don't have all the answers to life's questions. Nonetheless, I will have faith in the God of my understanding and continue on the journey of recovery. Guys, that is hugely important, and I think one of the reasons I find so much joy in my life today is because of the amount of faith I had. The fact that I said a prayer one night when I was still well into active addiction, I was circling the drain, like knocking at death's door. I was in, a very sad state of affairs. And it wasn't a physical rock bottom yet, but I saw it coming. And again, I'd seen it coming I'd seen it coming a million times, and I just walked right through it. This time, I couldn't repeat the level of despair, the physical rock bottom that I'd had before. The idea of just like, when I came to Somerville 10 years ago, I was given a fresh start. I was given not only a fresh start, but an amazing opportunity after being homeless and coming to an area where the police would overlook my record and allow me to live. And I had this beautiful opportunity to build a life, and I got stuck back on drugs. And it had come to the point where I was circling the drain. I was about to lose it all. And the idea of going back to being homeless and starting over in another territory, knowing I'd never find a city that I loved as much as Somerville, was more than I could bear. I said, nope. So it brought me to the place I needed to be. I dropped to my knees and I said a prayer to God. And I didn't ask God to get me out of a jam or to save my apartment or this or that, the other. I dropped to my knees and said, God, I'm inviting you into my life. I know you've always carried me. It's the only way I'm still alive. But I need you to actively come into my life and guide me. I've been taking the helm this whole time, and I'm in the darkness. I've been in the darkness so long, I don't even know what light is. Please allow me to walk in your light. And boom, something clicked that night. Like, it was more than I could handle. So it was more, I didn't realize how much it clicked. But I woke up the next morning and I felt good for having said the prayer. So at the end of the day, again, I went right about my business, doing drugs, getting high, and making a mess of my life. But every night, as I wasn't even going to bed, but every night as I was hanging up the phone from my online friend who thought I was going to bed, I would say a prayer again, and I just kept praying and I kept asking for help, and yet I wasn't taking action on the help being offered, and so I just kept praying, and again it just got louder and louder and louder and louder till I started to believe. So at first I thought I was losing my mind, but I started to believe that there was hope, and it got me into rehab, and it got me to start this whole beautiful spiritual experience I'm walking today. Hugely important, but it wouldn't happen if I hadn't at least paid attention, guys. And it wouldn't happen if I didn't have a sliver of hope. Faith and hope are the most important things in our lives. So with that being said, in early recovery, guys, yes, God won't give you more than you can handle in a day, but if the part of that is, guys, if we don't take the proper actions, the things that we're dealing with will repeat, and that's what I always get stuck in, and I could never understand why, but I never realized I never tried taking a different action. I just kept tackling things the same way I always did, and I always ended up in the same places I always ended up at. It makes perfect sense now, but I couldn't understand it at the time, yet I was unwilling to try something else. This time I was willingness. That's why we hear it said in every meeting, and I talk about it so often here. It is not only important, it is crucial. You cannot manage recovery without the willingness to do so. That willingness requires a lot. Again, willingness to get off the drugs, willingness to follow suggestion, willingness to invite a higher power into your life if you want to get the most out of it. And if you honestly look at your situation, if you're having the same scenarios play out over and over again, that means there's something you're overlooking. There's a choice you're not making. There's something you're not acknowledging, and there's a change that you're not making. It's not always easy, and one of the things I've noticed from just sitting here and observing and talking and talking to other people, I think I was given a leg up because I burnt everything to the ground and I had nothing. So yes, part of building from scratch, I was used to that overwhelm. I've done it many times, but the thing of it is I didn't have any baggage holding me back, and I'm not telling you to go out and run away from your families or anything else, but you've got to find a way to end the toxicity in there. And if you're stuck in toxic situations, you got to start learning to put up boundaries. And first of all, you've got to work on you. You can't worry about anybody else. You can't go in there and say, oh, well, you have to stop doing this because I'm doing this. You've got to put your needs first. Just put your head down and don't engage with negativity. Even if you're hearing it, ignore it, rise above it. That will change it. When you come at negativity with negativity, it just breeds more negativity and adds more fuel to the fire. But when you rise above and you consistently just come in saying, I'm not going to deal with that, I'm going to be my best self, and then you prove it through consistent actions, then you will change the opinions of the people that are riding you. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but these are the ways that you start to open up that path that can seem so, that cliff that seems to getting steeper and steeper and narrower. Well, you have to open that up. Go to meetings, find good relationships, work with a sponsor, work on yourself. And that's the one thing that I did right this time. I didn't go out and try to fix the job or get the shiny trinkets or put the money in the bank to make it look like I was okay. I sat back and said, as long as I got dinner for tonight, I'm okay. Let me work on me. I didn't worry about the outside things. I had faith that God would provide, that God would make sure I had everything I needed. So I just took the time to work on myself. That, for me, that was learning how to act differently, journaling, prayer, meditation, then going out in my community and doing good works. I didn't have a lot to offer at that point, but I would offer a smile. I would hold the door. I would look for an opportunity for a broken down car, just any way I could be of service. Boom, that's how to give me strength. That's how to go to the gym because I was concerned with how weak I was. I wasn't embarrassed that I could only walk in there, and I was lifting weights that some of the women there were lifting, right? Well, now I go to the gym and I lift more weight than I've ever seen anybody in the gym ever lift. Like, I can say that today. The guys at the gym say that, like, shocked. I'm bench pressing 415 pounds. Like, that's insane. It's beautiful. But it's because I consistently went and I did so in faith. And again, I didn't talk to God about lifting weights, but I talked to God about feeling weak. Is my health going to return? Will I be able to go out and work every day? Because I thought I'd done irreparable damage. As I go into things with blind faith, expecting the best outcomes without putting a definition on what I think the best outcome is. And it has shocked me. My life looks nothing like I'd ever dreamed it would. I have a self-respect level that I never dreamed possible. I get invited places I'd never been invited to before. I'm walking into opportunities I didn't think I'd ever be. I remember sitting there high as a kite, all messed up on heroin, stealing a sandwich so I could have something to eat, and spouting with guys, oh yeah, my buddy Doug's a millionaire and he's going to leave me property, and like I was going to be a millionaire on his inheritance. The guy's healthier than I am. He'll probably outlive me. Today, he's a customer of mine. He's my best friend as well as my landlord, and he's paving the way for me to own property alongside of him, to be his partner in projects. But that's only happened because I've shut my mouth and got up and done the hard work every day, and I've saved the money. He's not going to lend me money to put down on his property, but I've saved the money to match him to buy the property. I've worked on my credit rating. Not that it's outstanding today, but when I came into recovery, my credit was at a 500. It's just shy of 700 right now. And I didn't do so by buying things and loans, and no, I did so by consistently doing the hard work, paying my bills on time, paying off past credit cards, paying off things I owed. Just, there's different ways you can do a kickoff. Is a company I recommend. They were good to me. They helped me a lot. Guys, we can do it, but it's taken time. I'm 16 months in, and I'm nowhere near where I need to be, but I haven't rushed the process for once. I've sat back and just tackled every day with a gratitude for what I did have. Worked with what I had in my hands, not pissed and moan about what I didn't have, and not crying about what I lost. Just an attitude of gratitude for what I do have, which is my health has been restored. I just came from my dentist today, and I've been so looking forward to I have dentures. I'm pretty open about this. I had no teeth when I started the channel. Part of that process was to put posts, so I'd have implants on the bottom. And occasionally I have to re-glue my teeth during the day because they might come loose. Top doesn't move at all, not a problem. But I've been meeting with these people for over a year now, and I went in today to schedule the surgery for the implants. And the doctor sat me down and said, "Listen, we've gone over all the options because last time we talked, they told me what the plans would be, and they were frankly scary because they talking bone grafts and skin grafts, and I'm like, these things work really well. I don't know if I want to do all that." And I'm glad my intuition was on point because I was being honest with myself. Is that risk worth reward? And I sat down with them today. They're like, "Listen, your case is you've got too much bone loss in the jaw. If we attempt to do the implants, we're more than likely going to end up having to go in with surgeries, and I could be chasing a problem for the next 10 years." And instead I made, and again, their recommendation was to leave the status and leave it be. Like, they asked me, like, how happy are you with the product you have now? I said, I couldn't be happier. They work amazingly well. I have no restrictions in my diet. I can eat anything I want. I speak well with them. They stay in. I'm not having problems. And they're like, then it doesn't make any sense to create a problem when there isn't one. And I'm like, whew, I couldn't agree more. I walked in again. In the past, it wasn't what I expected, so that would have thrown me into turmoil. No, I realized today I dodged a bullet. And that's how I look at everything, guys. I look at everything as the glass is half full, never half empty. And because of that, my life continues to get better and better. Like, I do this reading and I say, yeah, I understand I'm a miracle. 2% make it out of addiction. I don't think it's 2% when you get to the level that I have. If you get to the point where you were in there for 30 years and you've overdosed multiple times, you've been clinically dead multiple times, been sentenced to prison 15 times, spent 4 years living homeless on the street, there's a very, very small percentage that ends up owning a business, owning commercial properties, owning sober houses, taking online courses at Harvard. Like, I am a miracle. Not because of me, but because I found alignment with my higher power, and I operate from an attitude of gratitude, from a place of just sheer appreciation for every person in my life. Yes, I have moments, somebody cuts me off, I get angry, I watch the video, and somebody's doing something stupid and I want to rage at them, but I don't. I try to leave a comment that's like, "Oh my God, that's terrible, I hope they get help. People, we got to do better, we got to treat people better." Like, instead of spewing hate, I try to uplift. And I'm not saying making a difference, but I'm saying that, like, every little action, guys, you gotta look at it from every point of view. So yes, more people call me, and this has been a busy day. When you face things head on, they can look like a very uphill, hard journey, but if that's how you look at it, that's how it's going to be. Yes, we have a lot of things we have to overcome. No, I'm not telling you it's going to be easy. If you follow the program, it's simple, but it can be a lot of effort, but effort doesn't have to mean pain. Like, we all work hard. Maybe it's different for me. I enjoy physical labor. It's the one thing that ever gave me a sense of satisfaction or a sense of self-worth in my life. So today I get to go out and, I work very hard. I hurt myself. I bust my ass every day. But I'm rewarded with the opportunity to build a life and have a dream possible. And I do so with gratitude, so I get more customers and it builds faster. Like, our perception determines our reality, guys. Not saying it's going to be easy, but you know what? If it's continuous, non-stop struggle, and it's the same situation over and over again, you got to make some changes, and you got to bring some joy, and you got to have the balls to stick up for yourself and demand what you need. But you have to earn it first, guys. You can't just go out there and demand it. You have to be 100%. You gotta take one step at a time, and you gotta work your way up from the bottom. Guys, that's the video for today. Thank you so much for being here with me. Always remember, God loves you. I love you. We'll see you in the next one.